So, we did not get very good news about Mr. Linus. Unfortunately, his test for CL came back positive. I know, buddy. I know. So, I've been meaning to make an update video about Linus since last Tuesday. But we actually didn't get any results of his CL test until Thursday, and we were right in the thick of all of the hay moving. So if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, I just posted yesterday, I think, about how we put 350 square bales into the barn for the sheep for the winter, and that occurred over like Thursday, well, a little bit Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. So, and then we had a really busy weekend. So I just haven't had a chance to really make a video. But so Linus's CL test came back positive on Thursday night. I got an email from the vet, and so that was distressing. Like, I was really, really hoping that it was not going to be CL. We're really attached to him, and he's so sweet. So it was really disappointing news. And then it was kind of like, well, what can we do? And so I posted on Friday in a local livestock group about just asking, like, if anyone had ever had any luck, like, rehoming a goat with CL, but, like, obviously full disclosure, like telling the new owner that the goat had tested positive. And actually numerous people reached out to me, and they were like, I have CL positive goats and I'm not worried about it, and like I would take him, and like plenty of people manage it in their herds because it's quite common. And I know it's quite common, and it is something that they can live with. It's just that with goats, they tend to like form the big abscesses, and so you kind of you know that they have it. With sheep, however, they can be more prone to like carrying it internally, so you won't even know necessarily that they have it because the abscesses are inside of them. And so when you're raising sheep for meat, and you send, lambs in to be butchered, and they cut open the carcasses and they find them full of abscesses, like that can be a problem. So, because I know even when we've sent like meat birds to the processing place, they always have a government inspector there. And if any of the birds have any sort of signs of illness, they will just reject those carcasses. So we still get charged, like they'll charge us for 60 birds, but maybe they've rejected 5, and so they just throw them out. And I'm not sure if that's how it works with lambs, but I don't really want to take the chance either that, we'd send an entire lamb and they would reject the carcass because it was full of abscesses. So that was one of the reasons, even though we do vaccinate, like the lambs, like I said, don't usually get vaccinated till they're over 6 weeks old, and so that's plenty of time for them to be exposed. So I ended up speaking to a few people, and a really lovely farmer from not too far from here came on Friday night and picked Linus up and took him home. So Linus gets to go and live his best goat life with some other goats. He just keeps goats for like brush clearing and, just basically to have to like eat noxious weeds and everything around his farm. So they don't really have like, they don't raise them for meat, even though Linus was a Boer goat, which is a meat breed. So he can just, I think he'll be happy there. Like, he'll get to be with other goats, and they will look after his abscesses if he develops any more. Sometimes a goat will only ever develop one abscess and then never again. Sometimes it'll become a reoccurring thing. So as long as they're, like he said, they have other CL positive goats, he's comfortable managing the abscesses if they come up. So that is good. The other thing I was going to say is somebody asked me like, are you going to test your sheep? And the test that we had done for Linus was $207. Like, I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? So basically I spent, between taking him into the vet and then having the test done, like $350, and then I gave him away. So a net negative on that one, but it's okay because the alternative was to destroy him. And so either way, I was going to be out that money. Like, it wasn't going to be a situation where we were ever going to be able to recoup that, because I didn't ask for a rehoming fee. I probably could have asked for, $50 or whatever, but I just really wanted him to go to like a good home, like a pet home where he was going to be loved and looked after. I mean, I don't know loved is the right word, but because I respect that not all farmers like fall in love with their animals. That's okay. But I messaged the guy later and he said, because I said, oh, is he good for the ride back to your farm? Because it was about, I don't know, half an hour. And he says, oh yeah, he was a little angsty during the first part of the journey, but then he just settled down and laid down on the floorboards of the truck and was content. So I was glad to hear that. And this particular farmer also expressed interest in buying some sheep from us. So he wants to buy maybe 4 to 6 ewe lambs from us this fall once they're, well, I say fall, but towards September, once they're all big enough and they're all weaned. So then that would be great because he will come back to look at some ewe lambs and then I can ask how Linus is doing and all of that. So all in all, very sad for us. Happy for Linus because he did not end up having to be destroyed. He got to go be somewhere where he doesn't have to be isolated and he can be with other goats. And so we had to do what was best for him. But yeah, definitely not the outcome we were hoping for. And so far, Obatanga, who was his roommate, has showed 0 signs. So she unfortunately has to stay isolated for another, I think, 4 weeks now. Because even though all of the other lambs have now been vaccinated, they actually don't gain immunity to CL until 2 weeks after their booster shot. And so they don't get their booster shot until August 10th, I believe. And so 2 weeks after that, then she'll finally be able to be reintegrated. But right now she has company in the barn, not close to her. Like we're keeping her kind of separate, but there's 2 ewes in a different part of the barn, but they can see and hear each other because they got hung up in a fence panel that they somehow destroyed. Like it wasn't really a fence panel. It was just some of what these wire panels that we had set up for when we sorted the lambs. And one of them somehow one of the panels got like just destroyed, and 3 of my ewes have like various and assorted injuries on them. They're all superficial, like really superficial. I put 2 of them in the barn only because the flies were bothering them. Like I could tell that there was like a lot of flies around the wounds and I was like, oh, we don't need maggots. So I put them in the barn and just flushed everything really good with saline and then sprayed it down with wound spray. And I've just been like, it's now there, everything's kind of dried out and it looks like it's healing really well. So I'm just keeping an eye on that. I'll probably keep them in for another day or 2 and then put them back out in the field. So long as no concerning signs start. Like right now, there's no swelling, there's no heat, nothing. So as long as they continue to heal up well, then I can put them back outside because it was just very superficial. But even very superficial wounds can look really terrifying when you first see them. It's like, oh my goodness. So she at least has a couple of other sheep in the barn for right now, but then it'll go back to just being her. And there's nobody else in the barn. And I just feel terrible for her right now because she can't really be with anybody, even though I'm really certain that she does not have CL. So yeah, that's that. So that's the update on Linus. I am working right now on a video about our livestock guardian dogs. So if you have any questions about livestock guardian dogs that you want me to, or our dogs specifically, I'm not an expert. So I'm really just mostly going to talk about our dogs. So if you are curious about how we run our dogs or why we have them, feel free to leave me a question in the comments on this video and I will hopefully get that other video up. My plan is before the end of the week. So I hope everyone else is having a good week. It is raining here today. It's been raining all day and that is wonderful. And if you want more regular updates, feel free to follow us over on Facebook and Instagram. We're Moon Moth Farm on both of those places. And I will talk to you guys really soon.